The Funhouse is a 1981 American horror film directed by Tobe Hooper. It was written by Larry Block and stars Elizabeth Berridge, Kevin Conway, William Finley, Cooper Huckabee, Miles Chapin, and two-time Academy Award nominee Sylvia Miles. The Silence of the Lambs is a 1991 American thriller film that blends elements of the crime and horror genres. Directed by Jonathan Demme and starring Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, and Scott Glenn, the film is based on Thomas Harris' 1988 novel of the same name, his second to feature Hannibal Lecter, a brilliant psychiatrist and cannibalistic serial killer. Written and directed by German-born Michael Honk, Funny Games combines thriller conventions with a number of Brechtian devices that catch audiences in a voyeuristic trance. Stephen Holden, The New York Times. Halloween is a 1978 American independent slasher horror film directed and scored by John Carpenter, co-written with producer Deborah Hill, and starring Donald Pleasence and Jamie Lee Curtis in her film debut. The Frighteners is a 1996 New Zealand-American horror comedy film directed by Peter Jackson and co-written with his wife, Fran Walsh. The film stars Michael J. Fox, Trini Alvarado, Peter Dobson, John Astin, Dee Wallace Stone, Jeffrey Combs, and Jake Busey. Night of the Living Dead is a 1968 American independent zombie horror film directed by George A. Romero, starring Wayne Jones, Judith O'Dea and Carl Harmon. It premiered on October 1, 1968, and was completed on a $114,000 budget. Black Christmas is a 1974 Canadian independent horror film directed by Bob Clark and written by A. Roy Moore. It stars Olivia Hussey, Keir Dullea, Margot Kidder, Andrea Martin, Marion Wildman and John Saxon. Freaks is a 1932 American horror film in which the eponymous characters were played by people who worked as carnival sideshow performers and had real deformities. The original version was considered too shocking to be released, and no longer exists. Scream is a 1996 American slasher film written by Kevin Williamson and directed by Wes Craven. The film stars Neve Campbell, Courteney Cox, Drew Barrymore, and David Arquette. Released on December 20, 1996, Scream follows the character of Sidney Prescott, a high school student in the fictional town of Woodsboro, who becomes the target of a mysterious killer known as Ghostface. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a 1974 American slasher film, directed and produced by Tobe Hooper, who co-wrote it with Kim Henkel. It stars Marilyn Burns, Paul A. Partain, Edwin Neal, Jim Saito and Gunnar Hansen, who respectively portray Sally Hardesty, Franklin Hardesty, the hitchhiker, the proprietor, and Leatherface, the main antagonist.